you're trying to say. Actions speak louder in every single way. We've done enough talking, I'm not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say. You know the things you do are so confusing. You gotta figure out what you're doing. This game you're playing with my heart is not amusing. Because I don't know where we stand, and that's so sad. Help me understand. I want you to show me what you're trying to say. Actions speak louder in every single way. You've done enough talking, not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say. Telling me that you love me, then you keep on acting like you wanna leave me. I'm getting tired of trying to solve this mystery. Yeah, yeah. So this condition of indecision makes me wish that I could understand. I want you to show me what you're trying to say. Actions speak louder in every single way. We've done enough talking, I'm not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say. I want you to show me what you're trying to say. Actions speak louder than every single way. We've done enough talking, I'm not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say.
Hey there. How's it going, guys? Welcome, TGI Friday. We made it another week, and now you are here with us on the Ska Talk with Mr. Kingpin. I am your host, Johnny Bravo, aka Mr. Kingpin, and today with us we have Joanna Wallace.
Hi.
And Joanna is quite the artist. She does a lot of cool designs, not just for ska, but a lot of pop culture and vintage stuff, and we're going to get into that. And she also runs fan groups on Facebook, and we're going to get into that. And because we always nerd out on Star Wars on Facebook, I'm gonna force in a Star Wars conversation. So buckle your seatbelts because we are about to get into this.
Nerd stuff.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everything up there in Minneapolis?
I can't really complain other than it being really hot. And as someone who's from Phoenix, it's hot here.
Yeah.
It's sauna hot, not the open the oven hot. You know, it's just muggy. So
That's when I lived in Chicago, I tried to explain to my wife how horrible it was. She's like, "What? You're from Texas?" I'm like, "Yeah." But we don't have Lake Michigan right there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I got heat stroke the first summer I moved here.
Yeah.
So, and I was like 80. No big deal.
I'll take 110 in Phoenix and stand under a shade because
not bad.
It's not bad.
Tolerable, but oh my god, like our AC has been running nonstop and it's frozen over, so we can't run it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, good to have you on the show. Looking forward to talking to you. I know you've been around the scene for quite some time, and so let's dig in. So first, we're going to do a little bit of news. There's not much out there this week. Let's see. This week. Oh, yeah. Mr. Kingpin's album is out now.
Oh, my God.
Finally, the wait is over. Songs written in 2016.
It's great. I'm not just saying that. Like, it's great. Everyone should out and buy it.
Appreciate that. Yes, it took a while to get it done, and we made it through a pandemic, recording long distance with all the players and getting stuff done. But we're finally here. We're at the beginning. We're at phase 1. So phase 1 basically just means that I released it a little earlier for supporters who like to buy the albums digitally. So that's why it's just on Bandcamp for right now. Now, in a few weeks, it'll show up on Spotify and everything else. And then as we speak, they are in line at the pressing plant. And so we will have a vinyl release with Jump Up Records, all culminating in a glorious release party at Supernova International Ska Festival on September 17th. Has it hit you yet that we're going to Supernova? That it's like hasn't been canceled yet?
I'm like over here like biting my nails like, damn you, Delta variant, you stay where you are.
Oh, I know, right?
Don't ruin our good time.
So for all you early adopters to the shots, you might have to get another one before you go. Maybe a booster. Yeah, I mean
50 shots, it'll be worth it for Supernova.
But now it feels really real, right?
Yeah.
It's like the there's a term I've heard, the tangible expectation that it's really happening. We've got Hepcat coming to the East Coast. Then they weren't coming to the East Coast. And now they're coming back to these. Well, it was a drama for sure.
what better band to replace Hepcat than Hepcat?
I know. It was really the only choice.
Really.
Yes. So we see here Stephanie Joe in San Antonio. What's up, Kung Fu Sound System? Thanks for being in here. What's up, Dave Reese? Waiting for that LP, but I've listened to the tracks already. Thank you so much. So also, if you guys didn't already know, Catbite just like bursted on the scene today with a brand new video and a pre-sale of their forthcoming album, their sophomore release. And the song's pretty cool. The video is really cool. There's a lot of neat cameos in there. Let's see. There was a 2:30, Bite Me Bambi. Who else did we see in there? Oh, We Are the Union. I saw Brent and a couple other people, I think. Some people I might not have known. But anyway, yeah, you better hurry up because it sounds like those vinyl pre-sales are getting scooped up pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Joanna? Have you heard about anything new, cool, whatever this week?
Oh gosh, I mean,
not to put you on the spot, but
yeah. I mean, I before we started, I'm kind of biased here, but you know, just housing the prize fighters, listening to Josh's prize fighters old school edition. I've been kind of listening to that.
Oh, that's right.
Getting my memory jogged a bit. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, other than that, I'm sorry, like I can't remember. Sorry if we're slighting anyone.
No, it's all right. So what is the prize fighters? Explain to everybody what that release is.
So Josh, who used to play saxophone for the prize fighters, he's putting together this podcast called Prize Fighters Old School Edition, where he's interviewing everyone who's been in the band and kind of like weaving together these stories about where they were, where they are now, and just kind of seeing how that was. It's kind of interesting because literally the day before Minnesota went on lockdown, we had a benefit show for a local friend of ours, Jenny, and it was the last show. And then the next day, the state was like, nope, we're shutting down, state of emergency. So it was kind of like, whoa. So that was kind of his motive of like, hey, we got one last party in before lockdown. So yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad the prize fighters have done some really neat things during the quarantine times. I love that series of studio live performances they did. It was really good. And I can't wait to. I know I got to see them a long time ago because I don't know if you recall, but we were together in the same room once upon a time at Fistful of Ska in Des Moines. And I saw, I mean, I think that the one we played at, that first one we played at, had just all kinds of Midwest traditional ska and reggae and rocksteady bands. It was awesome. Yeah. And that was the first time I got to see the prize fighters. So
it feels like a long time ago, but it really, well, it doesn't feel like a long time ago, but it was.
It was. Yeah, every time those pictures come up in the time hop, I'm like, what?
That was like 2013?
Maybe. That sounds about right. I think like 6-7 years ago we're coming up on. So anyway, there you go. There's your ska news. I hope you liked it. All right, so Joanna, tell us everything. First of all, first question is, how dare you? No, I'm just kidding. What was your intro into ska?
So I didn't know what ska was in my life from like early on. I really didn't know what it was until probably like 12 or 13. So I grew up right outside in Mesa, and you know, it was just a flock of like neighborhood children playing outside like all the time. And the older oldest kid in his teens when I was probably like 4 or 5. You know, he kind of would like watch over us, and of course he had control over like the boombox with everyone. And he used to like, I mean, we used to listen to all sorts of music, but I remember specifically listening to Skank and Fishbone when I was like really little, and those were like my favorite. I would get really excited, and he would put those on. And you know, as years went on, you know, kind of early ska boom ish. My sister and I used to go together and like buy CDs and you know use our allowance and you know kind of take turns picking. But she got this X Games soundtrack that had a couple ska tracks on it, and I remember listening to that Fishbone on it there too, and it was Party at Ground Zero, and I used to just listen to that over and over and over and over and over. Like it was my favorite song. And it wasn't until probably like 6th, 7th grade that I was like, oh, this isn't just a handful of bands, this is a genre. And I started learning more about it and buying what I could find. And then kind of, well, really dorky story. I mean, I'm not going to front at all. I'm a huge nerd. I mean, but my first junior high crush was mainly because the guy had a ska patch on his backpack.
Oh, that's just more common than you think.
Well, I mean, most of the kids at my school were like, you know, the skater kids and like, you know, the kids who were into rap and stuff. So there was only like a handful of us weirdos. And I was like, he's so cool. And so he kind of introduced me to some other weirdos. And that's kind of how I got into the ska scene. It was like, I knew what ska was. I didn't really know that it was accessible. And so I found out it was accessible. It was like that was the end for me. I started going to shows like 3 to 5 days a week.
Whoa.
We had a really healthy scene in Phoenix.
So what were the bands back then?
Oh, geez. So we had a lot of touring bands in California, but some of the bands, you know, we had Wiggums, and he is still active in the scene. He has a record store called Toxic House. He puts out records even now. Had Workshop Under. We had, oh geez, I'm blanking on the names. We had traditional bands. So we had Warsaw.
Warsaw.
Upsteady, and then they became Phoenix City Ska Ambassador, Three Piece Mink. Lots of bands, you know, didn't last that long. Some lasted, but it was just regular shows. And Friday at the Nile, which I was very lucky to grow up a mile and a half away from, you know, that was like the big ska and punk venue. We had local bands, and it like anyone could go on and for however long they wanted. And you know,
that's
like,
cool.
So it's like Jimmy Eat World, you know, played often there. So I was never super into punk, but you know, I would just go because there was nothing else to do. I mean, this is like pre-internet in your house.
Right.
And then Never Gonna Score, which became, oh gosh, what was that band? And that Nate Ruiz. And then he formed Fun, and they are like huge now. Lit, like, all Mesa stuff.
And then there's I know there's the big band that comes from Arizona that I should totally know their name, but I can't think of it right now. But they play forever. Like they're always playing at House of Blues, like every year. Help me out here. The big band. Oh well, I'll think about it. I'm sure it'll in the chat. Let me know who's the big band from Arizona that is always playing at House of Blues. I know you'll know exactly when as soon as the name comes up. Anyway,
drawing a blank, but
yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Did you like? I know. I mean, Tucson is kind of far away, right? Like, was there any back and forth between the Tucson and the Phoenix?
There was a little bit, and I went down there a few times, you know, for shows. Like I remember going, you know, with my friend's brother who drove to go see like Slow Gherkin. And a couple other bands. As I got older, it's just like the Agrolites and the Slackers. They do double dates, so we just like pop down there.
Right on. Yeah, because we kind of do that here. Like if we can, Austin's like 3 hours away, so some of us from Dallas will drive down to Austin to see, because the Slackers, like they did it right. Like that's like the hot spot for them. So Flamingo Cantina just books them 3 nights in a row. And they don't, like when they go to Dallas or anywhere else, it's just like because they're being nice. But
nice and come here more often. They average once a decade. So, but I get it. It's out of the way. It's hard. So I get it.
Well, what's the scene like over there?
It's I mean, it's hard for me to say because like I grew up in this really big, healthy, robust scene where there's like stuff always going on. But here it's very big, small town. Like everyone knows everyone, it feels, and that still kind of weirds me out because like the first question they ask you is like, "Where'd you go to high school?" And I'm like, "Nowhere you know." And then they're like, "Oh, okay," it's kind of that vouch for you kind of system. Or hey, do you know so and so? And that means you went here and da da da. But it's relatively small. But I kind of joke that a big chunk of the ska scene has a residency in my basement. Because the prize fighters practice in my basement, and everything that's their space.
So you're getting a free show a month or a week.
Yeah, sometimes multiple times a week.
And I know they just started getting back together, right? Recently, I saw.
Yeah, they've practiced probably 3-4 times. They're playing right now, so.
I know she's missing a show for Ska Talk. That's how much she's into ska.
Yeah.
She's skipping the ska show to talk about ska.
I can't escape it. Like Aaron talks about, we talk about ska all the time.
Boy, that man can talk about ska.
Yes,
oh, we got it. Snort laugh number 1 in the books.
He can talk. I mean, he is so well versed in music, and he is so smart, and he has such an incredible record collection. But yeah, he can talk, and sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, are we gonna watch something?" And he's like, "Hold on, I'm leaving a comment." And 30 minutes pass, and I'm sorry, sweetie, but like, I'm not. I appreciate that about him, but oh my god, I'm like, life is moving on, dude. Let's.
Hey, it's awesome though. I mean, it's very.
He puts a lot of thought into
very, very much so. Very thorough when he like is explaining stuff, and very nuanced for sure. Yeah. So how does someone from Arizona end up all the way up there?
That's a ska, man.
Ska. See?
Loving ska.
Ska is the reason.
Yeah. Aaron and I dated long distance for a few years, and then I moved up here. And it worked out. I was working for Target Corporate, and their HQ was up here. I found out soon after I moved here. I was like, this sucks. So I quit them and kept the dude. Well,
right on.
Yeah.
Well, cool. And so let's jump into what you do for ska. What are you doing for ska lately?
Oh, I'll tell you. No.
You're just
so
like okay, so we'll start with your designs.
Okay. I haven't done a ton of ska designs for my business, but
correct, but you've done Star Wars designs.
But I mean, even going back, like in my early ska involvement, like in my early years, like I said, I went all in.
Uh-huh.
I went all in. Like I was like helping bands. I would flyer. I would design shirts and flyers for them and CD covers. I was like, just let me help.
Yeah.
And so I have a really long history of doing like flyer and artwork and stuff. I went to art school.
I was going to ask, you came from what, like an art school background? And
yeah. So a couple years ago, I was kind of pushed into making enamel pins, and I really like the medium. You know, it's a lot better than doing commission paintings, which I used to do, you know, where you spend an ungodly amount of hours to do a painting and then you get like $300 maybe.
Yeah.
With this, like, you can make a small pin. It's more affordable for people, and you know, you can still do limited runs, and a lot of people get a small piece of your art. So I love it. It's really fun. People can accessorize, and yeah, it's just a much more affordable way to support artists.
Definitely. And you, I mean, you do it right. Like, these are not homemade.
Oh,
I got this one right here.
thank you.
So that's a recreation of an old design
Yeah.
that you brought back. And it's awesome. Of course, I've left it in the packaging. I haven't used it yet. So I'm waiting for the right time. I haven't been out of my pajamas in a year and a half, so.
Yeah. And like with that design, I had the old school like two-tone badge that was plastic, and they're really fragile, and I was just too scared to wear it. So I was like, you know what? If no one buys this, I don't care. Like, I'll have something for me so I can wear this design out. But I gave Beat Betty a bit of a, I'll pull the sticker out, bit of a facelift, because on the original design, she looks kind of like an alien with just the eyes and the, but you can kind of see I gave her a little bit more features, and I also cleaned up the lights. So, and that's just the sticker version of it. But
yeah, see, I was dumb. I should have got the stickers too when I was getting the pin. And now I'm gonna have to reorder.
oh, you know what? I'll bring some stuff to Supernova. Like, I'm hoping to get some more ska and reggae stuff in production for then, and just bring it there and see if people want some stuff. I have all other two-tones. I have some reggae stuff. It's just honestly doing manufacturing checks, not fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you have to go through a whole like manufacturing process and go through vendors, and they got to send proofs and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overall, has it been worth it with these? Like,
I think so. I really enjoy doing it. You know, like I said, it's just a fun way to get my art out there.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just like in any job, there's just arts that like you could totally do your job, but you're just like, I hate art.
yeah,
Like, manufacturing pics or specs, and I hate taking pictures because with metal, everything. So it's like,
yeah. And then, do you have any of the Star Wars ones with you?
I just, before we started, I went and just grabbed a bunch of stuff. So, and to kind of preface this, so the people who pushed me to make pins initially were with my Star Wars fangirl group, Galactic Fempire. They wanted something to be able to identify each other at nerd conventions. I was like, okay, you know, and then we start off with this. This is it's a holographic sticker, but just with this, but it was in a pin form, and those sold out immediately. And I've sold hundreds of those, which is just,
that's awesome.
Yeah. But this is one of my favorites. It's young Lando with a necklace, because Lando's one of my,
You got that look just right too.
Thank you. I love him, and he's kind of a sleeper. Like, people don't want to buy him. Like, why don't you buy Lando?
Didn't he do a great job in the Solo movie?
I really hope he comes back for the Lando series.
That's what I could only assume that they wouldn't be doing a whole series if it wasn't Donald Glover.
Yeah,
right.
Or you know, I think it'd be a little hard to have Billy D a whole series. You know, I'd like to see kind of like the Calrissian Chronicles and have like these flashbacks.
Yes.
And kind of Lando tell these big lies, and then it's like it plays out on the screen, and someone corrects him, and he's like, well, it kind of happened like this, and then it plays again, but like more realistic.
Oh, that's a great take on that. That's actually pretty funny.
You know, he's lying, and like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, start with Billy D, like help him to a seat, dress him up, and then have him start off, and then it fades off, and then Donald Glover takes it for the rest of the episode, and then he comes back to him, and they call him on all his BS. Yeah.
Oh, and I really want to meet Billy D. Like, just so bad.
Now
I will.
Have you met any of them at the conventions?
I met Hayden Christensen, and I met Erin Kellyman, who played Emphasis Nest, and she was recently in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep.
She was so nice. I actually gave her my pins, so
that's what I was getting to, because she actually got to see her pin.
Yeah, she screamed, which caused her manager to rush over thinking something was wrong. And then she showed him the pin, and he's like, "Oh my God." And then her mom ran over. So it was just like this big, really nice. So. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. She looked very down to earth. And she did a good job on Falcon and Winter Soldier too.
Yeah, she's really cool. So I hope the best for her career, and I hope we see her back in Star Wars again, because I think there's a lot of stories Emphasis Nest and the Cloud Riders could tell. There's some cool stuff.
That's the weird thing about that Solo movie is that, and again, I warned you all that Star Wars was going to be part of this tonight. So there you go. Yeah. Stephanie Joe says she will buy some of these pins, and the Scoot rework is rad. Chris Bourbon says right on. Let's see. They appreciate y'all big time. So, Ska Bill, there is no scene like MPLS. Okay. And great stuff from Middag Goodwin. So, I got the chats running over here on the side.
Awesome.
Okay. Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah. That's the weird thing about the Solo movie is that I loved it, and there was a lot of great things in it, and I really hope they don't abandon some of the seeds, like Emphasis Nest and all them, and then Red Dawn, or is it? No. Yeah, Red Dawn, right?
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn, yes. And then Kira just got brought back in the comics.
As
so that's giving some people some hope that she'll be involved somehow.
Yeah, and Amelia Clark says that she would love to revisit that role. So
yeah, and Disney Plus makes all things possible now.
Hopefully, but yeah, it'd be really cool to just see like this criminal syndicate of like, you know, the Pikes and Crimson Dawn and Black Sun and the Hutts, just like
it'd be neat. And I mean, if Book of Boba, if that really like took off into its own big branch, they could do that whole underworld show that Lucas was trying to make a long time ago.
Yeah, that would be cool. But I've heard that they have borrowed some of the elements from Underworld with like Solo and some of the other things that, you know, I'm just kind of cherry picking.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get that exactly as it is.
All right, we'll come back to Star Wars in a second. Because I'm just about ready to ask you about all kinds of stuff. And what other kind of design? I know, like, I've seen that you've been doing a couple other type of design work or coming up with some things. I saw some retro. I think it was like a pattern that you were working on or something. Am I right?
This?
Is it this? Oh man, hold on, you're freezing up on me for some reason. Hopefully it comes and goes. Okay, you're back.
Okay. Sorry about that. But yeah, I don't know if you're seeing this shift scarf. I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
This is also Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Inspired by Leia's cape on Cloud City, because Cloud City is my favorite everything in Star Wars. So
yeah.
I haven't taken pictures and stuff for this again because I said I hate doing that, and just
you got to get the little the little softbox thing with the camera that's up, down, and it's like a whole rigmarole.
I have a couple of them. They're terrible. So, you know, the glare and stuff with, because everything's like LED. It's so bright and reflective, which I mean, it's cool, you know, because it shows like, oh, my pins are like high quality metal with hard enamel, which is important for longevity.
Yeah.
But like everything. So, but
well,
yeah.
The downside to this game, the art game, is that if I remember correctly, didn't you catch one of your designs out there that somebody was using, or maybe more than one?
Yeah, I mean, that's happened to me so many times in my life. So, you know, I used to do like a lot of like ska kind of pinup, like traditional tattoo work. People had taken that and used it and claimed that it was their own original design. There was even like a tattoo shop who took some of that and then took photos of me claiming that they did my work in Mexico. I've had people use pictures of me for ska flyers across the world, which is bizarre. I've had people take my Star Wars designs. I mean, it's just the age of the internet.
Yeah.
Not cool.
You can't nail anything down, really.
Mm-mm.
So that's why you got to do the NFTs. Is that what they're... No, I'm just kidding.
I don't even mess with that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. So, cool. Do you have any cool designs that you're working on, or ideas that you're...
Yeah. I mean, I have a whole like OneNote that I keep of ideas, you know, of like different things I want to do. I mean, there's like steps and things that I want to do in the future. Like I'd love to make like actual nice shirts, get those made, you know, produced. I've done some really deep dive into like Jamaican, like 1960s souvenirs to see how that design was and incorporating that into my work, and also the music related stuff, because you know when ska was getting that push to come to Jamaica or to the United States, like there was some merchandising and stuff that came with it, and I find that really fascinating because it was just like a blink of an eye and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
So I'd like to incorporate some of that and do some reproduction kind of work with that, with some different products.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine it's kind of a hard to find a lot out there of photos, like good photos, where you can really get good, accurate details on what some of those things were.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes, you know, you just have to use that artistic license, or like just use your artistic skills to fill in like what you think would look right, or make those executive decisions to see what would work best. Like with this Leia scarf I did, her cape is like a beige and it just didn't look right to me, so I did this kind of like dusty kind of purple instead because I just thought it was more complimentary. So.
That's cool. Hey, are you planning on going to... Wait, so what are they doing for Celebration 2022?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's in Anaheim. I have tickets. We're just kind of see how it goes. Celebration it's a lot. It's a lot.
I get tired just watching it online.
There are so many people, and given like me being a leader of this, I mean, it is the largest Star Wars fangirl group online. It's people are looking to me to organize and plan. And so the last one that I did, I mean, I had like I put together 2 to 3 events per day, and more people turned out than I expected. I mean, so like restaurant meetups, like restaurants got really mad at us because we packed the whole place, and it's just a lot.
So how many members does that group have?
Oh, geez. I want to say we're like 4,000. So it may not seem like a lot, but it's really active. So,
which is good because historically, just for perception wise, Star Wars seems to be a very male dominated fan base.
And that's why I started it, is because of the sexism, the misogyny, the gatekeeping, the toxicity. It's just like yuck. And I feel like, and I use the term fangirls because we accept, women, non-binary, just as long as you're not a male, like, you're welcome there. But it's just the way that the fangirls interact is very different than I feel like they are in mixed groups. I joined another Star Wars group recently, and I'm just like, ah! Everyone is just not nice. Like,
yeah,
we die on. Like,
I'd say especially after the prequels, it just kind of has gone steadily. The fan base is just downhill.
Yeah, but reading articles. I mean, I was born in '85. So Star Wars was like done by the time I was born. But reading articles after Empire came out, or like fan letters to these sci-fi, like, people were big mad. They were mad about Empire. So people have always been mad about Star Wars. So
they just didn't have the internet.
Yeah, they were actually writing letters to like Starlog, be like, how dare Leia pick Han Solo over Luke Skywalker? Like, Jesus, like, calm down.
Little did we know.
Yeah,
that was a good call.
I know. So
it worked out for the best, Leia.
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. And then so that's a huge Star Wars group. I know we were talking about before we got online here that in some ways the Star Wars fandom and the Ska fandom has some similarities at times.
Absolutely. There are very similar themes of, people just being really stuck with their opinions and not willing to listen to others. There's a lot of unfortunate sexism and misogyny and just general problematic behavior. There's gatekeeping that happens. I feel like the gatekeeping is much worse in Star Wars, though.
Yes.
Women, because like you have, like, they're like literal trolls. Like, you have to answer these questions for them to believe that you actually like these movies about space wizards who move things with their minds. Like, don't take it so seriously. So
crazy.
I try to make the groups that I run be positive spaces where actual community happens and people have dialogue, meaningful dialogue, not just yelling into the void at a profile picture.
Yeah. And, for better or for worse, the internet has just provided that. That's kind of what the negatives of social media.
Mm-hmm.
It really is all that. And people feel like they can say whatever they want because they're hiding behind a computer screen. But anyway.
On the plus side, though, I will say that there has been some majorly positive. I will say I think the positive really outweighs the negative.
Oh yeah.
Your community, like, if you live in a small town, you can connect with people with similar interests, where, like, you have that before, there was no Ska scene and no other Ska nerd or Wars nerd talk. There's more accessibility. You can listen to new bands, whereas before you were basically limited to what was at your local record shop or your comic shop. If you got the Star Wars comics, it was very limited. Whereas now you can access anything and anyone, creators, you can band members. It's fantastic. And something Aaron and I talk about a lot is, like, people are so into, oh, we got to make Ska big again, we got to make it like this. And I actually think Ska is bigger now than it was in the 90s. So I'm honestly a little confused by it because I lived through that.
I've been saying that.
Yeah.
Like go ahead.
There's more bands, there's ska specific labels, we have more accessibility to one another. Barriers for entry, they're basically gone. Like you can listen and try out all these bands by just going to YouTube or Bandcamp, and that's amazing. Like,
yeah.
I think that the journey that I had in my teens was incredible because it was a lot of working really hard to find music, and so everything was just like, oh my God, this is whereas now you're just like next, and it's just this constantly running spring of information, whereas you just had a little oasis here and there in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. And I think people like our age totally appreciate it. And it's just so awesome compared to having to go grab the Sunday paper and look through all the clubs to see who was playing where. And I mean, that was that was the way I had to find shows. I found a Ska show like that once here in Dallas, and it was like with this was in the 90s, so the lineup it still had Lester Sterling, it still had Lloyd Knibb, it still had a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So that's how you looked for shows back then, or flyers and stuff, and now it's just all there. So it's like you're a kid at a toy store.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know some people have gotten on me for saying, oh, there's like no gatekeeping. Yeah, of course there are some people who gatekeep, but comparatively, we have way less gates now than we did. And it's just, it's out there. It's everywhere. It's affordable. It's accessible. And that's incredible.
So, okay, I have to ask this because I do I wonder, because I see that term thrown around, right? And so what is gatekeeping to you? Like when you guys are talking about gatekeeping, what are we talking about here?
Well, thank you for asking that, because I see this, it kind of feels like the term du jour lately. And I don't want to seem like I'm dismissive of people's experiences overall. But to me, it means really putting barriers up to make sure to keep people out in the negative sense. But gatekeeping can also be something good. So the term that I'm hearing a lot lately is only in the negative sense. And I feel like from what I've heard, because I have looked into this a lot and I've asked people, it seems like people saying that like certain bands or songs aren't ska, or that people, well, I really haven't heard this as much, but some people said, oh, you're not a ska fan if you like the Interrupters or something, something like that.
Yeah.
And I can understand how that can feel exclusionary. But as someone who's experienced gatekeeping in the Star Wars realm, it's like people look at me, I'm a woman, and they assume that I don't know this and that I'm only in it because my boyfriend got me into it, or that it's trendy or whatever.
Because the actors are cute or whatever, or some stupid. Yeah.
I had one dude at Celebration, the first one I went to, like say, oh yeah, there's just more girls here because of all the hot guys. And I looked around, I was like, yikes, dude. If okay, if you want to believe that, like, sorry, I haven't seen a single attractive man here, but that's just me. But that's kind of the negative side of gatekeeping, in my opinion. And I admittedly don't really partake in a lot of online ska discussion because it's, a lot of the groups that are out there are more focused on like the sound that I'm not super into. So
right.
I'm, just why. But I think there's a good side of gatekeeping too. It's making sure that people who don't really abide by the subcultural values, anti-racism, anti-sexism, anti-homophobia, anti-transphobia, all of that, we don't want those people around. So get them out. And also, upholding kind of the style too. You don't have to dress in a certain way to be in the ska scene, but
Says the two people wearing their.
I know, but like, I'm not gonna judge someone if you're a fan of whatever. Well, like, dress however you want. Like, I don't know if you've met like these really old school like ska reggae folks who they aren't in the scene at all. Like, they've been into the reggae scene and stuff since the 70s. They have none of that subculture.
No.
They're kind of know exists, but they're like, eh. But that doesn't mean that they're less of a ska or reggae fan. So, but there are gates within the subculture with kind of like these, identifiers. And that's kind of how we used to see, oh, that person knows what's up kind of pre-internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like the nod and the wink to each other so you knew it was a friend. So
right.
I think gatekeeping can be good and it can be bad for sure.
Yeah. And then on the others, side of that is like the skinhead culture. It's very like you have your uniform and you got everything kind of just the right way. Yeah. And you'll get questioned if you show up looking like that.
Yeah. And that's really why I never got in the skinhead scene. Well, that's one of the many reasons.
Yeah, I saw a little baby Joanna rude girl in pictures before that you've shared like back in the day.
I had a lot of pressure to shave in. I was just like, no, I don't want my haircut to define who I am. Like, I don't need that. And I was always like, there wasn't like a huge rude girl presence, but I really liked that it was pulling from a lot of different looks. And it was more about style, like personal style than fashion.
Exactly. So, and of course, I'm burying the lead here because on top of having the Star Wars group, Empire, you also are the admin of Rudy's All Around. And when did that one start? That was, I think, a couple years, or maybe like, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I could dig and find it, but...
Yeah. I have to say, that group is very diverse. A lot of the ska performers have gravitated to that group.
Mm-hmm.
So you see Greg Lee's in there, Persephone is in there, I see Chuck Wren's in there. I mean, what do you think makes a group pop off? Because there's a lot of, if you look through Facebook, there's a ton of ska groups.
Yeah, there are.
What do you think makes one kind of like where the talent also kind of gravitate towards it?
I think it's just the connections we've all made throughout the years, I started the group just because I didn't feel like there was something that was aimed at like me and my friends. There's a lot of like ska punk focus groups and there's like a lot of two-tone groups and they're all very different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you want to be part of multiple groups, that's totally fine too. And I also want to say, like, I don't view my group as competition. Like, that's kind of a weird thing that happens. Like, even with like Star Wars groups, because I have admin like Star Wars groups with like 30,000 people and stuff. Like, there would be other groups saying that like, oh, there are enemies. It's like, what? No, that's not it at all. It's okay to have different groups. And I often encourage people, if you don't have a group that fits your needs, start one. But I think with Rudy's All Around, I started it with just that subculture focus and invited the people I had connections with throughout the years. And I think when you start a group, you really set the tone for what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. So I was posting a lot traditional stuff, subcultural stuff, and memory, inviting those people and then invite people, and they kind of see, oh, this is what this corner of the internet's about, and people go there for that type of interaction.
Yeah, And there's been some great discussions in there. A lot of good stuff has come up. And I mean, I've been in some of the other groups. Sometimes I'll join some of them and get out, come in. Some of them are definitely meant to just, I think, I mean, they're just having a lot of fun with in there, and they like to be goofy. And then when someone is not in on the joke, it, like, I've seen it in those groups. There's people that are in those groups that I think are looking to have more serious ska discussions.
Yeah.
And then they're not finding them, and they don't get it. Like they didn't get the joke of that group or whatever.
Yeah. And that's part of why I joined or started Rudy's All Around, is like joined those other groups, and I was like, this isn't my flavor of ska. Like, so and I know I'm not alone in this, so I'm gonna try to start something else. And
yeah. Although I wouldn't even blame the ska on that. I would blame the culture. Like, some of them are geared towards meme culture.
Yeah.
And then they happen to be ones that are maybe focused more on a certain branch of ska or whatever. Because I know on Rudy's All Around, there's a healthy amount of posts about all kinds of bands.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I encourage that, you know, like some people have said, oh, well, this is the elitist group, or this is like for the old people. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, you're not even in the group. You don't know what it's about. So
yeah. It does trend more towards trad.
Yeah, for sure.
It does, definitely. Yeah.
And I have that in the group description. Like, this is more with the subculture that is around ska, rocksteady, and reggae. Ska punk is definitely welcome, but, you know, we definitely want to keep things about music and discussion about music and the subculture that goes with it. So just to clarify that for some people, because there's been talk here and there that we think we're better than. Absolutely not. Like, we're all nerds. There's tons of flavors of ska, tons. You know, that's like going into Baskin Robbins and yelling at anyone who doesn't order, you know, like praline pecan or something. Like, it's okay. We all like ice cream. So, like,
yeah,
just people like what they like. They don't think that they're better than.
And, you know, to your point, it's like there's a lot of groups. You can join all of them. You can like all kinds of music. And if a group is just not suited towards one type of music, it's because that's just how that group is. It's not that they're being elitist. It's just that that group is geared towards one type of music. Because it's the same thing with the two-tone groups. Some of the British groups and the European Facebook groups and stuff like that. Like, they very much keep it on topic.
Yeah. And it seems like, you know, I joined a two-tone group recently because someone asked me to share my designs that I did. And it's so quaint. Like, they're so precious. Like, it's a lot of like older two-tone fans, and they're like still coming together, and they'll make posts like, hope y'all are having a good night. Enjoy your beer. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
so cute.
Yeah. And, you know, as with any group, like you said, like, negativity we want to keep to a minimum.
For sure.
But sometimes it starts, you know, sprouting, and there's just like, you know, sometimes emotions can get the best of us, but we got to remember that at the end of the day, we're all in this for the music that we love. And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, no. And I'll say, as someone who admins a couple groups, I've noticed a definite uptick in people being more confrontational. And I definitely think that has to do with this is like our only social interaction for the last year or so. And so our mental state at that time, we're projecting that on what we're reading. And sometimes, it's good to kind of take a step back and say, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm reading this in a snarky way because I'm not in a good mood or I had a bad day. And I should kind of take a step back. And, I try to talk to people and, say, like, are you sure you want to say that? But, I have a firm rule with all of my groups, like, be respectful. We believe marginalized people in their experiences. And if you let something pass like that, that can fester in a group and just kill it. If there's a well-known abuser, someone who's committed sexual assault, anything like that, you got to get it out. Otherwise, you're basically complicit in letting their presence in that group. So it is a tough line. I've gotten a lot of flack from a couple groups that I've run from various people, but it's just like, I may not know you, I may not know what happened, but my main goal here is to keep the group safe and positive and to believe if something has happened. I'd rather have one person or like a handful of people mad at me than tank a group, So it can be tough. It's kind of like working. It reminds me of when I worked in collections sometimes, of people just getting big mad at you.
Yeah. I know it's not an easy task, but and sometimes you don't know I'd say in some cases, when you make the right call, and in some cases you don't know quite if you're making the right call or if it's just the least, what do you call it? The least of two evils or whatever that you got to do. I'm just glad I'm not, I'm an admin of a couple groups, but my groups are very focused and tiny. It's a group for this show, just to let people know what episodes are coming up and stuff like that. So I have not been able to attain the amount of engagement and community that, Rudy's All Around has. And there's other groups too that have big membership too. Yeah. So, we just, like you said, I thought that was a really good point, is that we've just been like stuck in our homes for so long. And this is the virtual festivals, all the things that bands are doing. It's like that's like our new normal right now until we start getting back out to the stages, which is happening.
I do hope that the virtual stuff kind of continues in some capacity, because I've been able to see groups perform that I probably wouldn't have had the chance to see, from like other countries and stuff. So
yeah, I know. There's some bands that just kind of blew up around here. Vieja Esquina, right?
Yes, they're so good.
So good. Pannonia All Stars. Have you seen them? Pannonia All Stars. They're from like Budapest. We had one of their songs on the Supernova virtual fest, and it was so good. And I know Cooley Ranks, he does the car sessions, and he plays them quite a bit. Yeah. And I have to say too, there are bands that just picked right up, and they were able to pivot really well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, some of the younger bands, Half Past Two has been able to do that. Catbite has done an amazing job at just like providing a lot of content. And then you get the slackers. Mm-hmm. Of all bands, they just they figured it out.
Yeah.
And they had the virtual concerts, and I think they were like every week, at least one member of that band is doing something online until very recently. So I do too. I really hope that it's a hybrid of it stays. At least until things get like for real normal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You haven't been out to any shows yet, have you?
No, we haven't really had anything. actually had like my first like kind of normal situation last week. You know, it was Aaron's birthday. He wanted to get out in nature and stuff. So I planned a little getaway, and we did a tour of a cave. And I was like, this is weird. Like, we're around other people in really close quarters. Like, So
yeah,
like the only thing I've done.
well, I think when we're all at Supernova, it's just going to be like the freaking light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
That weekend. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah. We booked like a little bit longer, you know, to just kind of ease into that social stuff, because one, it's like the last time I went, it felt like just this big family reunion, you know, just talking to everyone like, oh my God, I haven't seen you since like blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, there were people I hadn't seen since Ska Summit in 2003. So like, you. And it was just like, I felt like I really didn't get to see a lot of music because I was just felt like I would take 5 steps and be like, ah.
Yeah.
So.
It definitely has that feeling. I think that's just as much as the attraction of Supernova, then just as important as seeing the bands. So yeah. Definitely. Well, it looks like we have reached the end of our show this week. I want to thank Joanna for hanging out with me tonight and talking some ska and wrangling ska fans, wrangling Star Wars fans. And let's see here. Next week is July 9th. And next week I will be talking to Mike Sosinski from Bad Time Records.
Awesome.
So, and I know their band just did a split with Less Than Jake.
Yeah.
That's coming out. That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Bad Time Records right now is the spiritual successor to Asian Man. Even though Asian Man didn't go anywhere, Asian Man is still killing it. But I feel like Bad Time for this generation was like Asian Man for us in the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to him about the Bad Time record bands and Kill Lincoln and all that next week. So please join me next week. Oh, say that again.
Does he do mail order where you actually send physical money and I can't believe we used to actually send money in envelopes.
Mail order is fun. Remember that?
Oh yeah. Mike Park and I got a lot of my teenage money, but we're buddies now. I respect him. He is great. He used to send me lots of extra goodies because I told him I was really into Japanese ska. So he would like put a little.
Oh, that's cool. I'm actually going to see him possibly in a few weeks. I'm going to California for half a month.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Going to be hanging with family. But while I'm there, I booked some time in his studio just to mess around. Like my son plays drums. My daughter plays piano and stuff like that. My uncle plays guitar. And so I'm like, and it's in San Jose, right where his recording studio is. So I was like, we're going to have a fun music day over at District Recording. So anyway, yep. So thanks again for watching us. Thanks for hanging out with me, Joanna. And make sure to tune in next week. We talked to Mike from Bad Time and Kill Lincoln, and you guys all have a great night. Have a good long weekend, and we will see you next time. And make sure to buy the new Mr. Kingpin album. It's out on Bandcamp right now. And I'm going to do a replay of our starting scene just to remind you. All right. Good night.
so confusing. You gotta figure out what you're doing. This game you're playing with my heart is not amusing. Because I don't know where we stand, and that's so sad. Help me understand. I want you to show me what you're trying to say. Actions speak louder in every single way. You've done enough talking, I'm not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say. Telling me that you love me, then you keep on acting like you wanna leave me. I'm getting tired of trying to solve this mystery. Yeah, yeah. So this condition of indecision makes me wish that I could understand. I want you to show me what you're trying to say. Actions speak louder in every single way. We've done enough talking, I'm not here to play. Actions speak louder than what you gotta say. I want you to show me what you're trying to say.